So you've just done amortization tables, so you guys should be experts with your CAS now. So the Finance Solver. Finance Solver is a really, really useful tool on your calculator to help you with reducing balance in loans. So if you go, so the CAS Finance used large number of payments, easier to handle than doing it by hand. You can still do it by hand, but it's much easier to use the Finance Solver. So a typical home loan would involve fortnightly or monthly payments over a period of 25 years. So you've got to do these sort of calculations quite a lot. The way you get to it is you go finance, you go finance solver, and then you get this appear. So add calculator, menu, finance solver. Now you can see you've got a few things there. So N is the total number of payments. So often the payments will be monthly. So if you've got something monthly for 20 years, N's going to be 20 times 12. Interest rate, pretty obvious. And we don't have to worry about monthly or quarterly or all this sort of stuff because it handles this for us. PV, the present value of the loan. So that means if you borrow $100,000 to buy something, that's the present value. The amount you pay for each payment, again, that's a negative, just like it was with amortization table. The future value of the loan, again, that's going to be zero quite often. If you think about it, you want to pay the loan off, don't you? Number of payments per year, so this is 12 if it's monthly, 4 if it's quarterly, all that sort of stuff. And then you just press enter to solve for the unknown. So if you receive money from a bank, positive. If you put money back into the bank, negative. So that's why the payments that you make to the bank are negative numbers. So PV, positive, PMT, negative. The future value, often it's zero, but it can be negative or positive. So if you go onto Google Classroom, click on the chapter resources for chapter 9, you'll find a file in there called Finance Solver. Print that one out. So I think it's a double-sided one. So my printer can't do double-sided printing, but if yours can, do it double-sided. Otherwise, staple it together. Let's go look at lots of examples now. Okay, so what you can do now is you can pause this, turn your graphics calculator on, get it all set up so you can actually do this example exactly the same as I'm doing it. Obviously, we would try and do that in class, but when we're doing it in class, you have to sort of go at the pace that I'm going at, don't you? And sometimes you think, oh, this patch is going too slow. Can you go a bit quicker? And then sometimes, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going, hold on, can you stop? Now, all those sort of things you can do, can't you? I'm going too slow. You can do the question even before I've gone through it, yeah? So Andrew, that's me, borrows $20,000, interest rate of 7.25%, compounding monthly, paid over 4 years, those payments. Now, sometimes the kids say to me, sometimes we have to use the finance solver and sometimes we don't. So how do we sort of tell if we do or if we don't? Well, there's no 100% rule, but this is kind of a pretty good one. You got one thing there, two things there. Monthly, that's another thing. 3. Loan paid over 4 years, that's 4. We've got a payment, 5. So you've got 5 things there. So once it gets up to about 4 or 5 or 6 things, you're probably thinking I should be using the finance solver. So there's your finance solver. N, what's the value of N? Andrew, the loan will be paid over 4 years. So careful here because you might have put a 48 there. How much correct to the nearest cent does Andrew owe after 3 years? So this is 3 years, so 3 12s, 36. Interest rate, 7.25. PV, value of the loan, 20,000. How much are we paying? 481.25. And don't forget that has to be a negative. How much does Andrew owe after 3 years? So that's what we're trying to find. So you leave that bit blank. So you should only, if you leave that bit blank, that when you press enter, that's what it'll work out. Now, usually when you type in 12 there, 12 will also appear there, yeah, because they're usually those two things are the same. So now you just press enter, and it gives you the answer. How much does Andrew owe after 3 years? So 20,000. He's got about 3/4 of it left. So there's your value: $5,554.36. 36. That doesn't round it up, does it? What is the final payment Andrew must make to fully repay the loan after 4 years? Now we're going to the 4 years one. So that's your 48. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. So before there we had 36, didn't we? Now we've got 48. What is the final payment? So that's going to be our future. So this should be 0, shouldn't it? If you think about it, if he's paying it 481 each month, this should be 0. And of course, we're doing it monthly. So remember we talked about there's always that, often there's a little bit left over, isn't there? So how much is left over? That there is 11 cents left over, isn't it? Because that will round that up. So your payment, the final payment is 481.25, but there's 11 cents left. So final payment, $481.14. Other example. So over a 5-year period. So 5 12s are 60. Interest rate, 8%. Amount of money, 10,000. Find the monthly payment. This is what we're trying. We're trying to find the monthly payment. So our future value will be 0. So it is to be repaid. To be repaid. So that has to be 0. Yes, you've got to read the question very, very carefully. Compounding monthly. So they're both 12s. $202.76. What is the total cost of repaying the loan for the nearest dollar? And again, this is where people asking me questions, always ask me questions every year, because you don't need to use a financial solver for this. This is basically 60 payments of this amount. What is the total cost of repaying the loan? So the total cost of paying the loan, there's 60 payments of that amount. Now, can you see I've actually put the whole at 7639 rather than just the 76? Going to get more accuracy that way, aren't I? As long as I show my working out, so I'm showing my working out here, anyone marking that can go, oh, I can see what he's done. He's used the whole value on his calculator. What a smart cookie. To the nearest dollar, 121.66. The total interest paid to the nearest dollar. So again, we don't need to use the finance solver. That's how much he borrowed. That's how much he paid altogether. So the interest is, that take away that, 2166. All right, another one. $150,000 is borrowed for 25 years at an interest rate of 6.8%, compounding monthly. What are the monthly payments? 25 years, and it's monthly. So 25 times 12, 300. Interest rate, 6.8%. Amount of money, 150,000. What are the monthly payments? That's what we're trying to find. So that's 0, 12, 12. You see, the examples are very, very similar, aren't they? So, what are the monthly payments? 104,111. How much is still owing at the end of 3 years? So 3 years, 3 times 12, 36. Same amount, same amount. That's what we just worked out. And again, I put the whole bit in rather than 1, 1. How much is still owing? That's what we're trying to find out, aren't we? We're trying to find out how much is owing. So you'd expect 25-year loan, after 3 years, there's still loads of money left. Yeah, $142,000 left. So this is kind of like a 2-part question. This is the tricky bit. After 3 years, the interest rate rises to 7.2%. 6.8, 7.2, 0.4 increase. Now, if you think over 25 years, the interest rate is going to change loads over that time. He's going to be paying more, isn't he? What is the new monthly payment? So at the moment it's 104.1. He's going to be paying more because the interest rate has gone up. That would need to be paid in 25 years. Well, the new monthly payments. So where does that 264 come from? So we've already had 3 years of the loan. And it's a 25-year loan. So we've got 22 years left. So 22 times 12, 264. Interest rate has now gone up to 7.2. What is the value of the loan? Well, at the moment, after 3 years, remember the value of the loan was that. Again, I can see people going, oh, I would never remember to do that. What are the new monthly payments? So that's what we're trying to find, the new monthly payments. and it's going to be for it to be repaid. Yeah, I think it's 12 and 12. It's got to be more than that. So it is. It's 1,076. 179. That rounds that up to 8. Yeah. How many extra dollars does he pay? So he's obviously going to pay a little bit more, isn't he? So do you think, oh, he's only paying like 40, it's only 30 bucks. 35 bucks isn't going to be making it. Remember, it will. 30 bucks for 22 years. You're not even 22 years old. So got to work out each month. The extra bit is $35.07. And we're doing that for 22 years or 264 months. If we do that for 264 months, the actual extra amount of money, is nearly 10 grand. So an interest rate going from 6.8 to 7.2, 10 grand. That's a pretty decent car, 10 grand. Giving answer to the nearest $10. So take care with that. 9260. Yeah, it's nearer to $60 than it is to $50. Make sure you do all of those questions. Use the work solutions if you have trouble. Good luck.